Hi, and welcome to today's webinar where we'll be saying so long to silos and talking about how to integrate your CRM with Twilio Flex. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce today's speakers. My name is Nicole Wong, and I'm a Senior Product Marketing Manager for Twilio Flex. Joining me today is Abhijit Mehta, Product Manager for Flex Integrations. Abhijit will be walking us through an overview of the different approaches to CRM integration with Flex. We'll learn about the Flex plugin framework, see an architectural overview of CRM integration, and finally, Abhijit will take us through a demo. We'll leave some time at the end for questions, so feel free to submit questions at any time during the webinar. Okay, let's get started. We all know that the key to providing good customer experience is good communication, which can be defined as communicating the right message at the right time on the right channel. But why is this so hard? When your contact center technology is distributed across multiple systems that are siloed and can't talk to each other, it's hard to surface the relevant information about each customer that's needed for contextual conversation. So what needs to be done in order to make contextual conversation possible? Well, at a high level, every business operates with systems of communication and systems of customer record. Providing contextual communications to both your customers and agents requires these two systems to sit together, work together, and deliver the right insights at the right times. And when it comes to how these come together, we've seen two approaches that are most common. One where the system of customer sits with an apparent UI from the system of communication, or the other way around. With Twilio Flex, either of these approaches are possible. Twilio Flex is a cloud contact center application platform that lets you instantly deploy a contextual omni-channel contact center out of the box. Now, what is an application platform, you might be asking? An application platform is not a SaaS application. This is a fundamentally different approach. While an application platform deploys like SaaS, it is fully customizable. It integrates like a premises-based system into your proprietary backend databases and CRMs. And it allows you to iterate as easily as a web platform would. Unlike premises-based systems, it lets you move extremely fast. And it does all of this with an architecture that enables you to create the exact experiences that you want. Flex is fully programmable at any layer of the stack, which means you can customize any element, whether it's your agent desktop, your channels, your routing, or even your CRM integration. With Flex, whether your CRM is on-prem, cloud-based, or custom-built, you can embed your system right into the agent desktop or the other way around. Now I'm going to hand it off to Abhijit, who will show us how to make this happen.
Thank you, Nicole. Hey folks, I'm very excited to be present here and to be talking to you about CRM integrations with Twilio Flex. As Nicole pointed out just now, it's important to provide contextual communication to both your agents and your customers. So with that view in mind, let's proceed and see what options and what paths are available for a business to integrate CRM of their choice with Twilio Flex. Today, you can choose one of the three paths shown on your screen to get to the integration and get it live. Let's look at them one by one. Flex and Salesforce integration is available natively. It means you can get live on your Salesforce CRM with Twilio Flex without the need for any development. This is available in beta today and it's going to be GA very soon. We will be adding more CRMs as native support in future. But you don't have to wait if one of the CRMs that you want to integrate is not available natively, because we have a rich ecosystem of partners that have created their integrations, offering a lot of CRMs, as you can see on the screen, with Twilio Flex. Besides not having to wait, there is another benefit. While the native integration that we offer and will offer on other CRMs in future have common call flows, a lot of times something additional might be required. Maybe a custom object, maybe a custom flow, maybe something that is not common across all other CRM users. This is when this partner network can also be super useful for creating your bespoke integrations. You can contact our partners via Twilio Sales. And then of course the option to build your own integration exists. Since Flex is an application platform, it is easier for you to go and build your own. Whether that be because you have a homegrown CRM and none of the previous options become applicable, or maybe just because you're a development house and you want to do it all in-house, you have this option available. The recipe of creating your own CRM integration with Flex consists of knowing your CRM, knowing Twilio Flex, and then a knowledge of packaging these two together using the plugin framework offered by Flex. So let's talk about the first item here, that is your CRM. When you start thinking about integrating your CRM with Flex, the first thing to start exploring and noting down is the relevant APIs and methods required for your call flows in the integration. A lot of popular CRM package these methods and offer as an integration point. Some of them call them telephony integration, some of them call as VoIP integration, or you would have heard a common term CTI integration. What it essentially is a packaging of the necessary call flows that is required when you want to react to an incoming call in your contact center solutions. You might have those methods too, either directly or indirectly. Let's take an example. A very common call flow is to search an incoming record when a call comes in and screen pop that relevant record. Now you might or might not have those packaged together, but somewhere in your CRM SDKs and APIs, you might have these methods. So when you start thinking about your integrations, create a list of these APIs and SDKs and package them if possible. If not, you can always call them on API levels. Once that is sorted, let's move to the UI level of integration. Now, there's a lot to think about on how to place the two UIs together. And three flavors of this that we have commonly seen are mentioned on your screen. Let's look at first of them. So Flex within CRM. A lot of our customers told us that they didn't want to change their agent's interface, and they wanted their agents to work in the interface they were already trained on. And in that case, when you want to integrate CRM with Flex, the option is to bring Flex into the CRM itself. This could sit on the left-hand corner or on the right-hand corner or as a pop-up from the top bottom. Or it could take a bigger space depending on the context and the type of communications you're having. Second flavor is bringing your CRM within the Flex UI itself. And a lot of our customers have gone down this path as well. After we launched Flex, we also started seeing this third flavor of CRM integration that our customers started to ask us about. This was using dual monitors. And in a contact center scenario, it is common to have those dual monitors. So we are seeing a lot of customers go down this route of having the CRM on a different monitor and the contact center or Twilio Flex part of the system on a second monitor and still be able to integrate that. So you need to think about these UI level integrations from the point of view of your agent productivity for your business call flows, the BPMs and the process management and the workflows there. Try to figure out what works best for your agents. So once the UI level integration is sorted and designed, the next important part to think about is how to take the integration to a level deeper from just UI level integration. If you recall, all the UI flavors that we just saw had these components, i.e. CRM and Flex. And the deeper integration means you have to make them talk and be aware of each other. Let's take an example to understand what I mean by saying that. So when I say that both systems should be aware of each other, it means that when an action occurs on one system, the other system should be capable of listening to that and reacting to that. An example is, If there is an incoming call in Twilio Flex, you might want your CRM to screen pop, which means the CRM reacts to an incoming call on Flex. Similarly, if you take the other way around, if an agent is clicking a phone number on your CRM, you might want that Twilio Flex creates an outbound call, i.e. Flex is now reacting to an action that's happened on CRM. And the way you would make these two components talk is by utilizing the underlying action framework beneath Twilio Flex UI and your CRM and API SDKs beneath your CRM UI. Let's look at action framework in a little bit more detail. On a high level, action framework consists of two things: actions and events. A variety of actions are presented today: voice actions, chat actions, actions performed by agents and supervisors, general actions around navigation in the UI, and you can add your user-defined actions. A common example is accept task. This is an action that happens every now and again as a contact center agent is functional. Around the actions are events. So if we take the same example of accept task, we can create an event called before accept task or after accept task. And this is pretty useful. So if you think about this, an incoming call presented to a contact center agent, and before the call is accepted, you have a handler now where you can hook your CRM API to perform the search and present additional information to that agent. Maybe this information will help the agent get prepared to talk to the customer when they pick up the call or accept the task. Another example is after completion of the task. So this is after action. You can have a hook into your CRM to log the activity around this conversation as an audit log. Okay, so these were the examples of listening to an action in Flex and creating a reaction on CRM. But the same action framework can help in the other way around as well. So thinking about click to call, this is an action that happens on CRM, and as a handler to that event, you can also invoke an action of accepting the task if that click to call resulted in an outbound task. So now that you have made your components talk to each other, it's time to package this up and make your Flex UI have these functionalities available. So to do that, you would utilize the Twilio Flex plugin framework. Plugin framework is Flex scaffolded for you. Through the Twilio minified JavaScript SDK, you have access to the UI components and the action framework. You create a plugin using command line. We will talk about that in a little bit more detail in some time. Once the plugin is created and you have tested in your local environment, this is when you compile and create a production build. And then take that static JavaScript file and deploy it to your hosted Flex environment. That is the runtime assets. At this point, you also can deploy any other static assets to that runtime that you might want to access during the CRM integration. Okay, so let's have a look at an example of a customer of ours who have done this already. Scorpion is a digital marketing company with a broad client base, and they have embedded their homegrown CRM within Twilio Flex to streamline their operations and reduce average handling time. Scorpion uses their custom system to handle incoming digital leads on behalf of hundreds of different businesses, each with unique sets of intakes and workflows. Time to first respond is critical to their contact center. Because of the extreme flexibility that Twilio Flex offers, Scorpion was able to create a custom intake and client-specific knowledge base by deploying Flex on Amazon CloudFront. Flex enabled Scorpion to abstract away a portion of old applications they were maintaining in their contact center, such as TaskRouter, and separate Twilio voice and chat clients, simplifying repetitive tasks for their agents. On your screen is a screenshot of what they have implemented. The left-hand side is the Twilio Flex communication systems, and the right and the middle lanes are the custom CRM that they had, and they made this integrated. An incoming call results in a lot of actions on the right hand side, as you could probably see from the screenshot. With this customer example, let's move ahead and try to see an example of integrating a CRM into Twilio Flex. Okay, so what you see in front of your screen is a screenshot of the integration that we will try to build now. This is a HubSpot integration, and the reason we chose HubSpot is because it's an open source CRM, and we want to show you how to go ahead and the steps required to build your integration in the CRM of your choice. So without wasting a lot of time on the screen, let's go and start building it. If you would recall, one of the first steps that we said that you should adhere to while creating this integration is figure out the necessary APIs and SDKs for your CRM. So in front of your screen is, as you would see, is the API endpoints for displaying the HubSpot initial screens, the API key for HubSpot, and then the contact display screen. Okay, so the next step is now to create the Twilio Flex plugin, which will scaffold Flex application for your further development. The way to do that is using the command line interface called Create Flex plugin. You could install this from npm, and the instructions are present in Twilio Flex documentation. You would create the plugin with a prefix of plugin hyphen, and that's how Twilio understands which plugins to load at runtime. So let's give it a name. We'll call it CRM in Flex HubSpot. At this point, it will also ask you a couple of information for you from your account. So let's go and grab that. Here is the account SID. You could go and similarly find the Flex runtime environment. Let's fill that in, and at this point you would see that application has been scaffolded for you. If you want to go further in to see what the structure of this code is, you'll see there is a source directory and some public assets. Let's open this in Visual Studio Code editor. Okay, so I'll just open it here as a folder and quickly walk you through some of the files inside this. So you would see there is a file. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so you would see that there is a plugin file that has been built. It is a skeleton where you could start doing all the cool stuff, and there is a public file, a public folder which has configuration for your account. This is where the information you supplied earlier during the command line is put in. And then there is a sample component, React component, that has been built and pulled into this. For us, the next step would be to start putting in CRM instead of this React component. So because this is not relevant to our discussion, I'm going to remove this sample component from here, and I'll pull in a piece of information relevant to the CRM integration. Okay, so I have copied the snippet of code that is relevant for this, and I'll walk you through that. I'm pretty sure you're not interested in seeing me type this piece of code. Okay, so here is the relevant piece of code that would bring in HubSpot within the CRM. Let's quickly walk through it. First, we try to figure out the runtime domain, which is stored in Twilio Flex Manager. And once that is figured out, we'll see why is it required at a later point of time. Now, the very first step is when the CRM, when the Flex UI launches, we want to set this. If you remember, this URL is what I collected initially as the starting point of the CRM to be displayed on the right hand side window. And then additionally, we also want to plug into the action framework. If you remember from one of the previous slides, we're going to look at the event after accept task, and within that, what we are going to do is find the name attribute in the task that was created. This is the task that agent is accepting. For a voice call, this name consists of the phone number. For chat, it consists of the name given to the chat user. And at this point, we want to call a search and screen pop function, passing in the search parameter so that it could find that and display it on the screen. Now we should go and define that search and screen pop function. Let's pause here for a bit and see what that function should do. So HubSpot has an API that will allow you to search for a contact, and then you can push that contact using the contact display screen onto the right hand iframe CRM container. But to call that API, you can't call that from the front end for obvious reasons. So we want to create a proxy layer in the middle on your server side, which the front end will call, and that will in turn call the HubSpot API. So this search and screen pop parameter should actually call that proxy function so that it can further call HubSpot API. Let's go and start creating that now. Okay, so let's define the function. We will make it an async function so that it can call the proxy layer that we just talked about. Search and screen pop should have a search string, and we have got flex and manager in here. Okay, so within this function, we want to do a few things. We want to define the URL for the proxy layer, proxy URL, then fetch information by passing search string, and then push the view, the contact view, based on return values. And I'm just going to replace this with a piece of code that does this to save time. You would see these are the things that has been defined, that has been put in. So you've got the CRM API key. Of course, this is not the best practice. You should have it saved in environment variable. But for this quick session, I'll just leave it here. And then we've also got the view contact view URL here that will be required to push. And the search URL is actually an endpoint in the runtime domain. Let's call it search HubSpot contact with search string being passed there. And then basically you go and fetch that search URL, passing in the relevant search string, which is like, created up. And then you basically check the contact details. In the contact details, you have the profile URL set up, which is what you would want to push to the view if it is a successful search. With that said, this function or this plugin is ready to do the job, except that we should also define the search HS contact in Twilio functions. I have actually gone ahead and created it ahead of time to save typing time here, but I'm going to show you what that looks like. This basically has feature wise, it has all the relevant what you require for an API, but here is what it basically does. It takes the input, and if there is a search string, then it goes and calls HubSpot's contact search endpoint and then sets the results back in data. This is what we have used in the code, if you remember. Here, data contacts profile URL. So with this, the first basic MVP version of the CRM integration should be ready to go. The next step to do is, when you have this all ready, you should go and now make this, build this for deployment. Normally you would do an npm install here, but to save the time taken to download all the npm packages, I'm going to create a symbolic link to one of my previous node modules in here. So now I have got this node modules, and I can actually now package this up and create a production build. Let's expand this screen. Hopefully there is no syntax error in here. with all the copy pasting. Okay, so this is good. Let's go and now install it in the Flex runtime. Let's open. Okay, so we have the build version here. This is what you will go and install on your runtime assets. Let's drop it here. Oopsie, I added it before. Okay, let's let the page load up. When it's ready, we'll drop it here. And at this point, when you upload it, this will be ready to be tested. So let's do that. Oh, I see I had a previous asset in here, so I'll just leave that. And at this point, if I launch Flex, it should have my plugins available there. So let's have a look at it. Okay, so when this loads up, yeah, we end up in admin dashboard because I've logged in as admin. But let's go to the agent interface here, and as you would see, an initial HubSpot screen has popped up. This is what we had set up as the default one. But we also did set up an handler for accept task. So I'm going to send a text to myself, to my contact center number now, and yeah, there it is. So at this point, if I accept it, ideally it should pop up the screen relevant to this phone number. So let's accept that. It's trying to do something, and fingers crossed. Yeah, there it is. So it did pop up. So based on the phone number, it performed a search and it popped up the screen relevant to that phone number. Okay, so that's our call flow one for an incoming call, search and pop up a screen on the CRM. If you go back to the code, and this is where you can start adding, tapping into the action framework and start adding, further more things. For example, if you want your agents to, if your agents are on multiple tasks and they move between the tasks, you can easily add another plugin which is exactly similar to accept tasks, but it's called after select task, and perform the same exact function. This will allow your agents to see the screen relevant to the task they have recently selected. I'm not going to go into more details, conscious of the time here, but I guess it gives you a fair idea on how you can start building your own integrations, tapping into the action framework, packaging it up as a Flex plugin and deploying it to the runtime. If there are any further questions, I'm happy to take that shortly in the Q&A section. Let's quickly move back to the remaining slide and go over it. If we want to share with you some best practices, it's important that when you are creating the CRM integrations, you think about UI and agent experience. You need to find the right UI integration that works for your contact center, for the business and for the agents. And there could be multiple ways, but conducting surveys with the agents and getting a user experience research done would probably take you to the right place. You should also talk to your CRM vendor and get your integration aligned with the CRM features. Find out if there are limitations. For example, some of the CRMs cannot be iframed because the X-frame settings are set to same origin. In that case, you might have to look at the other alternate options that we talked about earlier. So it's good to figure out those limitations and features of your CRM beforehand. And then you need to figure out the common customer engagement workflows that your agents spend more time, and then create a priority list in that order. For example, you might want to start with an incoming call resulting in screen pop, and then move on to click to dial resulting in outbound call. The benefits of creating an integration with a CRM integration with Twilio Flex is that you get an integrated user interface. You should also be able to create a one-to-one agent mapping between CRM and Twilio Flex. It could be something as simple as implementing the common SSO on both the systems, but it has a lot of benefit. You can use dynamic routing using, if the agent is known, if it is the same agent on both the systems. And then further, you can extend admin and supervisor views within your CRM integrations as well. That is all I wanted to share with you today. Hopefully we have given you a quick overview on the path and steps to start creating your CRM integrations. As mentioned, if there are further questions, let's take it in Q&A section that is starting shortly now. To end with it, I would just bring back what Nicole mentioned earlier. A good communication is at the heart of good customer experience. So create the integrations in a way that you offer the best customer experience to your agents and to your customers. Thank you.